Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making the tutorial for this beautiful scarf. So I posted the picture and you guys said you wanted a tutorial, so let's get into it today. And you know, this is a two-in-one project. If you do not want to use it as a scarf, there are other ways you can actually use this beautiful pattern. You can also use it for a throw blanket. So as you can see in the video, I had to show you how beautiful it looks. So whatever way you want to use it is going to come out so beautifully. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so these are the materials you're going to need for this particular project. Okay, so you need a scissors, you need a tapestry needle, a measurement tape. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using a 4.5mm hook to teach you and a medium weight yarn. But for the original project, that's not what I used. I used a 5-ply cotton yarn. That's what I used for this one, and I used a 5.5mm hook size. So if you know you want your own this bulky, you can use any yarn you want. You can go for an 8-ply or anything, because it's actually a two-in-one. You can use it for a scarf and you can use it for a throw blanket. So the person I made this one for, she said she wanted it a little bit bulky. That's why I used the 5-ply cotton yarn for this one and a 5.5mm hook. You know, the bigger your yarn, the bigger your hook size. So that's what I did for this one. So this particular one, I'm using the medium weight yarn, and I'll be putting 2 strands together, and I'll be using a 4.5mm hook size. So you go ahead to actually use the yarn that's make you happy. But just make sure you up your hook size as you up your yarn strands. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so for the measurement, what you do is just know the width of what you want your scarf or your throw blanket to be and the length. So for this particular one I did previously, the width is 25 inches while the length is 60 inches. So for this one, the tutorial, I'm just going to be doing maybe less. You know, it's just a tutorial. I don't want to do a full stuff. I just want to teach you with this particular one. So you go ahead to do your own measurements and know the width that you want, and you know the length, then you know how many to chain. But when you chain, you chain in multiples of 10 and 9. So go ahead to create the chain of the width that you want, and I'll meet you back to tell you what to do next. But just remember, it should be in multiples of 10 and 9. So I'll meet you back when I'm done with my own chain. All right, okay, so I've gotten the chain of the size I want to make now. So for row 2, you chain up 2, 1 and 2, then count 3 chains backward and enter into the 4th chain, 1 2 3, and make a double crochet into the 4th chain, just like that. So this chain 3 here now is serving as 1 double crochet. So now we have 2 double crochets, and on the next chain stitch put in 1 double crochet. Just keep putting in 1 double crochet on the next stitch as well. Put in 1 double crochet. Until you have 10 double crochets. You keep going until you have 10 double crochets on this chain. Okay, so we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. We have 1 more to go, and 10. So after you have your 10 double crochets, then chain up 2, 1, no, chain up 1, sorry, chain up 1 and skip 1 chain, and into the next chain put in 1 double crochet. All right, and then now chain up 1 and then skip 2 chains, 1 2. Make sure you're following closely so you can get this design very well. Skip chain 1, then skip 2 chain, and on the third chain put in a cluster, that is 3 double crochets in 1 stitch. So that's 1, and this is 2, and this is 3. All right, so chain 1 again, yarn over, skip 2 stitch, and on the third stitch put in 1 double crochet. Then skip 1, chain 1, and then skip 1 and put in 1 double crochet. So you see it. Now you go ahead again to put in another 10 double crochet like you did in the beginning. So don't forget, this is 1 already, so add 9 more double crochets in each of the chain stitch. And 10. I just want to take it again so you can get it clearly. All right, so now that we have our 10 double crochets, what you do now, chain 1 and then skip 1 chain stitch and enter into the next chain stitch with a double crochet. Okay, and then chain 1 again and then skip 2 stitches, 1 2, and on the third stitch put in 3 double crochet in that same stitch to create a cluster. 2 and then 3, and then chain 1 again, then skip 2 stitches, 1 2, and on the third stitch put in 1 double crochet, and then skip 1 again, chain 1 again, skip 1, and enter the next stitch with a double crochet. So this is what you keep doing. So go ahead now, create 9 more to this one to make it 10, and I'll meet you here. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of row 1. So for row 2, you are going to chain up 3. 1 2 3, and turn your work. So you're not going to be putting anything on this very first stitch. You're going to go to the next stitch now and put in 1 double crochet, and continue putting double crochet in each of the stitches until you get a count of 10. Okay, so put your double crochets. Okay, so this is my last stitch. That's the 10th stitch for me here. Don't forget, this our chain 3 is going to be serving as 1. That's why I said you should skip the first stitch. So you say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. All right, so for this part now, you are going to chain up 1. All right, and then you are going to skip this whole space. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. Skip this whole space, and in this next space you're going to put in a cluster. That's 3 double crochet in that same stitch. 1 2 and then 3. See, so now skip chain 1 again, and on the next space just after the cluster you did on the previous row, put in another cluster. That's a 3 double crochet on the next space. That's 2 and that's 3. Then chain 1 and then skip the space like you did here and put in a double crochet just right here on the next stitch. So you see that. So what you're going to do now is go ahead to add 9 more double crochets to create this part 10. And when I get here, I will come and explain to you again what I did here so you understand very well. Okay. Okay, so I just finished putting in my 10 double crochet stitch right here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Make sure you are following the count very well so you can get these designs out. So now on this space again here, chain up 1 and then skip the first space from the previous row, and on the next space, which is the one before the cluster from the previous row, put in 3 double crochets in that space. 2 and then 3, then chain 1, then the space just after the cluster here, this next space, put in 3 double crochet there to create another cluster. So that's 1, this is 2 and 3, and then chain up 1 and then skip this space here and put in 1 double crochet in the very next stitch after the space, and continue to put in double crochets until you get to this very end to create 10. So after this one now, add 9 more double crochets. So you see this last one is tricky. This chain 3 that you made on the previous row, just go into the very third stitch right here to get your 10th double crochet right here. So you see, this is what we have now. For row 3, we'll go ahead to chain up 3 again. 1 2 and 3, then turn your work and then continue with this 10 double crochet stitch, but make sure you skip this very first stitch and go into the next stitch and put in a double crochet, and the next stitch another double crochet. Just keep doing that until you get the count of 10 double crochets. Please make sure you are paying attention and making these counts very, very well, because that's the only way the design of this stitch is going to come out. Okay, so continue with your double crochets until you get to 10 double crochets. So this is my 10th stitch right here on the row 3. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. So you are always free to actually slow down the video and pause and rewind so that you get what I'm saying very clearly. Okay, so for the third row, you put your normal 10 double crochets. Then when you get to this spot, you chain 1, then skip the space, which is this first stitch, and then on the top of the cluster, which is the very first stitch after the space, now put in a double crochet there. Right, so chain 1 again, and on this space in between the 2 clusters you create in the previous row, go in with a cluster. That's a 3 double crochets in this same space. All right, so chain 1 again and then count 2 stitches. So on this very last stitch just before the space, put in a double crochet right there, and then chain 1 and then skip the space, and on the next stitch put in 1 double crochets and 1 double crochet, sorry. So here is how we're looking. See it? So now you go ahead to put in 9 more double crochets on this part, and when I'm done, I'll come here to show you exactly what I did here again so you can get it clearly. Okay, so I'm done with my 10 double crochets. So I'm going to be repeating what I did here again so you can understand what I did. All right, so chain 1 and skip the space, which is just count 1 chain here and go into the next stitch with a double crochet. Just watch closely. Okay, then chain 1, skip 2 chains and skip 2 stitches, which is on top of this cluster you made previously, and go into this chain now with a cluster. Don't forget, cluster is supposed to be 3 double crochet in 1 space. So 3, that's it, that's a cluster. So chain 1 again and then skip 2 stitch, and on the 3rd stitch right here put in 1 double crochet, then skip 1 again, and then on the next stitch skip the space here, which is skipping 1 chain and going into the next stitch with a double crochet. So that is how you create our little design in between the double crochets. So go ahead now to finish the 10 double crochet at the end here. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and don't forget what I told you here, the very 3rd stitch, go into this 3rd stitch with a double crochet to complete it. 10 always, so you get this very straight look. All right, so now for row 4 you are going to chain up 3, 1, 2 and 3, then turn your work. As usual, skip the very 1st stitch and go into the next stitch with a double crochet, and on the next stitch a double crochet, and on the next a double crochet. Just keep doing your normal 10 double crochet like you've been doing. Okay, so this is my 10th double crochet. I always like to count so I know I'm not making any mistake. All right, so what you do now is chain 1. So it's just a repetition of what we did on the 2nd row, on the row 2. That's what you're going to do in row 4, because this is going to be a repetition of row 2 and row 3. So what we are doing in row 4 now is exactly what we did in row 2. Right, so let me just go ahead to do it so you see what I'm talking about. So you chain 1 and then skip this space, and on this next space you put in a cluster, put in 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, then chain 1. Do not forget your chaining 1, always chain 1 in between. Okay, so you get an even sides. So chain 1 and on the next space put in a cluster like you did in row 2. Okay, 2 and then 3, and then chain 1 again. You skip this space and go into the next stitch with a double crochet. So, and on the next stitch a double crochet. So this is basically what you do in the entire scarf. All right, is a repetition of number 2 and number 3. So please, if you do not understand number 2 and number 3, just rewind the video and let it go slowly so you can understand, because this is the pattern you are going to be following for the entire length that you want your scarf or your throw blanket to be in. So continue now and do your normal 10 double crochet and repeat exactly what you did on this part, so no matter how long you want yours to be, you know whenever you get to this spot, you are going to be putting in 10 double crochets, and then whenever you get to this design parts, you know where to create your clusters, you know where to put your double crochets, and always chain one when you do that. So go ahead now to do the length that you want, and I'll come back to show you how to put this one on your project. All right. Okay. Okay, so I believe by now you are done with your length of your scarf. So right now what I want you to do at this very end parts, do one row of single crochet. All right, because now we are going to be working on the tassels, this top parts, because whatever we are going to do at this top, we're going to be creating at the bottom as well. So go ahead now to put one single crochet at the top of your own, and I'll come back to show you what to do next. Okay. Okay, so I'm at the end of the first single crochet I created at the top now. So now for the next single crochet, what we're going to do, chain up 2 instead of 1, chain up 2, and then turn your work, and then as usual just skip this very first stitch and go into the next stitch right here and put single crochet all across, until you get to this point right here. All right, because we are going to be putting the tassels at the beginning of every of these designs. All right, so the tassels are going to be, one is going to be here, the other one is going to be at this point, and then the next one is going to be at this point. So what we are trying to create now are the places, the holes, the space where we can actually attach our tassels. See, as you can see on the one I've made before. So what you do now, when you get to all of these points, make sure you chain up 1 and skip 1. So now we are at this part, the end point on this particular place. So chain up 1 and then skip 1 stitch and go in the next stitch with a single crochet. So as you can see, you have this little space here where you can put in the tassels. So continue with the single crochet until you get to the other point again. You chain up 1, skip 1 stitch and go into the next stitch to create the space where the tassels are going to go into. All right, let me just show you one more time before I go off camera. So here we are again. This is the very last, the very I don't know if I should call it last or first stitch. Okay, so this is it. So chain 1 and then skip this 1 stitch and into the next stitch put in a single crochet. All right, so keep doing that on all of those points. All right, all of these points until you get done with your own. All right, so don't forget we created 1 here by chaining 2, because this is going to be the first point. All right, so go ahead now to do your normal single crochets. Then when you get to the point, you chain 1, skip 1, and I'll meet you right back to show you how to create a tassel. That's if you do not already know how to create a tassel. Okay, so what I did for the tassel, because I measured it and I wanted like a 3 inches long on this particular one I did, so I did the measurements with this one. So what you are going to do, I don't know if you want your own longer, so just get a longer one. Some people use book for their own, but this actually measured the exact length of the tassels that I want on this my project, so I went ahead to do this one. So this is how you create a tassel. Just put your yarn right here, hold it down, and then you wrap it around. And like I said, depending on how long or how short you want yours to be, you get the size of the thing you want to use to do your own measurements, and then just wrap it around like this. Don't make it too tight because you'll have to pull it out at the end of it. So here we go. I think this is enough for me right now. So after you do this, just pull it. First of all, if you are okay with the one that you've wrapped around, you know it's going to be okay for your project, then you cut out the yarn just like that, and make sure you hold this part very well so it doesn't go off. All right, so you pull it out just like this, and here you go. So as you can see, so what you do now, just take your scissors and cut it right here where you begin it, and here you have your tassels. See, as simple as possible. So now what you're going to do, you're going to be putting it on the space that you created. So depending on how big and how full you want your tassels to be, like me, I'll be using four for each. So here's 4. Okay, so this is how you put in your tassels. You hold it down like this, make sure it's equal at the bottom, just watch closely. All right, then what you do, you take your hook, go into the space from the bottom like this, then hook the circle part on top and drag it out just like this. Then remove your hook, and on this loop right now, take it and bring out this one from inside like you are tying a knot. All right, so we just create our first tassel. All right, so take another 4 again, but like I said, depending on how many you are using, me, I'm using 4 because that's exactly what I did on this other one. And you see the strands of this one is actually very tiny as well, so you can compare it with the milk cotton 5-ply yarn. So you make sure everything is the same size. All right, and then you hold it like this again. You see how I'm holding it? All right, making sure this place is equal, and then go into the space you created with the single crochet. So from the back, put in your hook just like this, and on this loop, put in the hook like this and drag it out. Make sure it comes up very well so your hand can go in the loop just like this, and then you take it like you're tying a knot and drag it. So as you can see, we have 2 tassels already. But if you want your tassels to be a lot, you can always make one in the middle as well. All right, you can make one in the middle and just make it fuller. But my own, I needed the space. I just wanted space to come out. That's why I made all this space. All right, so you can go ahead to make yours as much as you can, anyhow, any way that you like. Okay, so whatever it is that you're doing here now, that is exactly what you should do at the other side. So the fringe would be, the tassels would be on both sides. All right, so you go ahead now and create your tassels to the very end and do the same thing at the other side, and we are done with our scarf. So this is the end of today's tutorial. Make sure you tag me when you are done with yours. All right, and if you have any questions, feel free to put it on the comment section, and definitely I will get to it and reply all of your questions. Okay, so make sure you subscribe and turn on your notification button so that when I post any tutorial like this, you'll be the first to see it. And like and share this video to the people that want to make a beautiful scarf just like this. All right, so until next time, bye bye.